Oof. Well, you still don't understand what the Delph Social Security number did. All right? Now, that's not important per se because if the original intelligence of that girl is dead, and I'm the Indios version of her, that's old news. In other words, Julieta Novoa, who was the mass media in Belgium, who was with me in elementary primary schools. Old news on the news. I said, that girl's dead. Stay in Rome for retirements, Fresno County dolls, and so forth. Now, everyone knows who Fresno County dolls is for the retirements of the parents. They know I'm the dead child or the dead baby in freak schools in the UN. They know it was only stupid times school Shakespeare, correct? Global. And we know that the intelligence mind was born for those two high schools in Rome, Italy. We also know it's been to 70 countries and 30 states, connecting the dots as a ghost of itself. And we're not stupid. And then it went to London, and from London and ESA and other places, it went to the US. Now, when I was flying as many times on 92 and above, I had that mind, all right, that they called the Mir or ESA or NASA or whatever, in the United Nations in Rome, where I was born. And St. George's on 85 and above, I already knew I was going to die on the coastlines doing my work, not Kangoo. I'm not a point, a malign, think like Gabor, lowlands. Now, this is old news on the news with the vessel, okay? So let's say in 70 countries and 30 states, I'm traveling and they call me the familiar face and this and that. And oh my goodness, that girl broke space and she broke sciences and she's dead and she goes to a genetic school of freaks. And that's it. And who crashed with her? The Italian intelligentsia, more than La Sapienza. Others in St. George's, Woolwichers. Okay, and you are being just a bunch of assholes in Poland. Why? Because you know that if the parents are retired in Fresno County, it does, just like Kindergarten Global knows already. And they live 92 and above. So the buildings in DC, in Langley, in West Coast, San Fran, are 92 and above. And that's it. From Laura Quint, who was my best friend in Rome. So Colin Hills, who is the lover of Eleanor Thompson, who looks almost identical to me genetically, the professor of genetics in Woolwich of the inner circles, with no eyebrows and no eyelashes. That lady, this is old news with the pestle, is not good for the baby Indios. That I got problems with the Disneyland babies in Rome and other places. In other words, go back to Kindergarten Global, find out who the Indios are with the Del Peso. Now, why they said my intelligence should be alive was because I was doing beautiful shit and now it's dead. Right? Now, whatever was internal, there was a job in Hook set, and it was my job. Now, deep in the heart of Congo is high school. And I was at a high school at the age of 15, the non-existent pink high school in Rome, meaning the Indios, nobody, freak, me, all right, with the Del Peso. So when I come back, okay, now wait a second. They, on St. George's, it's 85 and above. And they don't accept 85 and above. Why? Because 85 and above, A, they already knew that I was going to die in Rome, London, and Hookasad. And B, because, well, I won't say B. Because the parents are retired in Fresno County Towels. And it's a crazy town. It's crazy, Fresno County Towels. Everyone knows everything about Fresno County Towels. The schools in Rome, Woolwich, by extension, the other countries, and the US. So obviously, there were more than nuclear confrontations in DC. It's like, are you? Come on, Fresno County Towels. And, of course, Laura Quint was agreeing. She's saying, sure, stay in Rome for a time. Get rid of Fresno County Towels. Havana should have happened ages ago. You did everything at Fresno County Towels. Just get rid of them. So you have the rotations of the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, the other countries, Woolwich by extension, the Morgan Ashistis, the Real Army in Yosemite, for instance, and all the others. And you also have the locations locally of the local people who live in Fresno County, Dallas. The 70% that live below the poverty line in Fresno County, Dallas. Now, that has been happening so many times that they got sick of it. And because I'm dead with the Del Pistol on the coastlines, Peter Beneff, the CIA generals, and Gabor with the low-lined eyebrows, defended me on the coastlines, even if I'm not alive. All right? But that's something else. That's the work I used to do. Okay. Now, for the parents, you have the headquarters of the CIA, the government, and the DOJ, okay, attacking Fresno County, Dallas. While in Poland, on my crawlies, we got the mother out to Poland, and we won the rule of law against entire Poland. The thing that pissed off the Italians in Kindergarten Global, if you go back to Kindergarten Global in the UN, and I don't know how they knew, or Woolwich, or Europe, or Interpol, or Scotland Yard, or the others, or the CIA, or the FBI, I don't know. Okay? They didn't show the mother to the family. So, of course, she was taken to Moscow. Still, we won the rule of law thanks to others. In other words, Poland just behaved like an ass hole. Because if you have unheard of Bigfoot DOJ parents in Fresno County, Dallas, that many times, you know who Fresno County, Dallas is. And in Poland, you don't need the rule of law. We did it anyway. The fact that we didn't see the mother is what upset the entire US on the East Coast. It's what upset London and Woolwich by extension, and Rome in the UN. And so obviously, when you look at Fresno County, Dallas, we know from the beginning who Fresno County, Dallas is. We know it in the schools in Rome, long ago. We know it in Woolwich by extension. We know that place, East Coast, and so forth. Now, because I was this fucking phenomenon in space and fucking phenomenon in sciences, which I don't believe, okay? Because I died. I got the social security number dealt. That's old news on the news. I'm really sorry. So what happened was, there was a loss of intel on the coastlines other than 9/11 with Andrew. I had other 9/11s. I was famous for something else, okay? And because I don't speak about it. Why? Because they call me the Indios. They call me the Indios social security number in Hookeset, New England. And when I go to the genetic freak schools in Rome and the UN, they say, you should be here, you're special. That's been going on for some time with this special social security number, though. So you could say lowlands, whatever. And they went sort of low with me. And it didn't have to be dead. It could have been lowlands and I could be still operating in Intel. So you have to start seeing why. Shakespeare, for instance, 2 high schools. I was born in Rome for 2 high schools. 2. In stupid times. The parents are directorates. Okay, directorates. in this UN. Now, on 92 and above, I had a brain. On 85 and above, I had a brain. I was the Men in Black child in St. George's that everyone was saying, oh my goodness. Fuck Kangoo. Fuck Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. That was the very last project in St. George's in high school in Rome. The Men in Black child, whatever you want to call it. I used to work on the coastlines. That's a fucking island that I've become by now. Okay? So when I got that social security number, which is a federal number in Hookeset, New England. The parents are from New York, the social security numbers. And California. There's another machine, as everyone knows around the world. So, and I'm not some German Greek party person, no thanks. Although, they're not bad. So, the Polish were very nasty. Try and see that. Because, other than the usual jealousy that they were saying on a personal level to me, when I was vomiting as a 5-year-old gymnast in Rome. Now, for instance, I was born in Rome, okay? I have 7 passports at birth and a UN ID. Don't fuck with me. That's stupid time to high schools. Stupid time for me. Don't start. I know my personal profile. You know what I'm saying? So don't, you see, the Polish, first they started going on the religious freak shit with the Catholic. Then they went on the racist shit. And I'm like, fuck, this is like Fresno County Tell. We're dealing with some fucking retards here. Then, I'm like, I used to go to Interpol, Akshay 13. And finally, after almost 4 years, they're like, yeah, your mom's delicate, weaker, older. Okay, where is she? Colin Hills and the others are saying to me, we know. You crashed and we crashed with you. And your parents are separate from that. You were the space. You were the science freak on the coastlines. And the guys in Italy, and the UN La Sapienza, more than La Sapienza University, when I was 5 years old, that annex, which is empty now, it ain't literature. It was the science in St. George's in Rome, and the UN. As old news on the news, Julieta Novoa. Now, Julieta Novoa was in elementary schools with me, okay? She became mass media in Belgium. And Lara Quint, from Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, she became the Supreme Court Special Counsel. Okay, she's living on Ancient Avenue in Rome. Okay, what's that? No, piece of shit. All right, so, I don't like this Lupsko place. I'll tell you right now, this little village here is starting to get on my nerves. They say they want to help. I can see that. They're full of judgment. So, trying to understand where this is coming from. I need to come back, and I need to hang out with those people who can help. Which means either in Rome, or in London, fuck even Berlin, and of course, anywhere on the East Coast, DC, Langley, where the Morgana Chistis happened. Don't know about Florida, but we'll say it. And California somewhere. Okay, now this island may not be the perfect location. I might have to go back to the coastlines with the braids. For the parents. The real brains. Like as in the, oh shit brains. Okay? In other words, the flyers. Which we call, and I'm sorry to say this, but I've become a narrator in Ambra Dimensions. And what happened in Rome when I went back for these 2 years? You remember when I was 4 years, going back about that? 3 years, I was in Lupsko. 2 were in Rome. I went back to Ambra. Guess what? They have 2 streets. I forgot about them. Bonelli and Mortacci. Mortacci? You know what Mortacci means in Roman? It's not Italian. Mortacci means I'm going to send your uncle, your brother, your sister, your grandparents to hell and they ain't coming back. That's what Mortacci means in Roman. I'm looking at Ambra and I'm like, shit. The Ambra Middle School. And that's Ambra Middle School. That's not even elementary primary school. That's not high school. That's not Woolwich at 15, 16. You know what I'm saying? This is bad. I had a whole Rome going, it's worse than the Larkins here, man. I gotta give you this shit. They were showing the Larkins to me, and the Eagles, because you say Baba and Mama used to go to Aquila. They had a friend there. That's how much for you. Fresno County et al. Started this shit ages ago on their retirements. Now, I used to work on the coastlines. I don't know how many motherfucking times I have to keep repeating that I used to be a marine creature, a sea creature. Woolwich, for instance. Italy, I don't know. The mariner. I'm Carlo Verdone. The Marines could cool the Varies, whatever. Acqua Savona, the soup with a comedy. I used to be Carlo Verdone. It used to be Carlo Nero. Then it became Carlo Rosso. And now he's a comedian, Carlo Verdone. So that's what Cool for the Forest. Now I'm kidding. I never watched him. I never watched TV. I never had time to watch TV. I'm not to do it anymore. Okay, good. Coastline's done. 85 above with the clock. I don't have nothing left. I'm a baby with a piece of paper as wiped out head. What's wrong with you, William Burr's household? And you don't even know what it did. So shut the fuck up, Lupsko. Yeah, you try to explain to them the basics here in Poland. They're full of shit. And then they even sent that Grabsky guy who's a psychopath who killed 3 people. 2 Polish and 1 Iraqi. He spent 20 years in jail. That asshole has been following me to London all the time. After 3 years and a half, you know what happened? The asshole came to one of the, and he killed himself in front of the university. He literally slit himself open. I was like, after 3 years and a half of trekking, I'm like, oh, there it goes. Another fucked up everyone trying to kill that asshole in London. Then he followed me here. Not a problem. I go to Rome. I spent 2 entire years in Rome. Those guys were so pissed off in Rome that forget about the UN or the schools. The locals, they know my sorry ass. For instance, in gymnastics. I'll give you an example. I might tell you, I was born in Italy. Yeah, stupid times I was born in Italy. Yeah. I've been in Rome a long time in the United Nations system, let's say. And stupid times are 2 high schools, yeah? I've been doing gym. I trained in the Italian, federation, 6 to 8 hours a day for like 8-10 years in gymnastics. Just for health. You know, the scout, you've been through the mill, Bella Caroli, you had the summer camps, Bella Caroli, you know. What are you gonna tell them? You know, and in the US, they know. Those guys know. On the coastlines and in Intel, they know. And Woolwich knows, BBC Channel 4. Come on, guys. At the age of 16, 17, they come to me and say, this girl is size, is her size, her name is be young, 15, 16 years. Her name is Jamila. It's like looking at him, it's like, excuse me, sir, but I got the piece of paper Delph, I'm dead. So I'm thinking to myself with these fucking numbers, you know, Delph, boy. Of all the fucking numbers you could give somebody Delph. Okay, it's lowlands. In high school, they were the Bilderbergs. You know, I went free to school. Now, St. George's was different. St. George's High School had 20,000 to 1,000 international students. We used to go our own way with our Glocks and uniforms. Everybody had their, Men in Black child. You know, everybody do their own shit. Space, science, coastlines, whatever. Yeah, in Rome, Italy. This fucking pink school in high school, son, get my nerve. They speak about the easy life. Dad, and please don't feel the pains of the angels without the teeth. You got the police throwing candy at me in Italy at the age of 5. You got no teeth. They're stuffing the cat. The Italian police. I can't watch this. They're having a heart attack just looking at the baby. For the parents, culo, va. How many times? So you try and understand. It's not that I'm like insulting here, but try and understand this fart. You know, already I'm a fart for myself. Now you want me to fart for the parents that many times crawling out of President out to those capital cities and the holding cells. So you keep going, you know, like this. On retirements, those are the agencies are there, the holding Woolwichers, you know. The director of Scotland Yard is listening here right next to Gabor, you know. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake. I didn't know he was, forget it. And so they keep sending me. So 3.5, 4 years. I did the rounds. I went to Langley for 3-4 months on laptops. I went to DC, same shit. Woolwich, the other countries. Okay, I get some money. I come to Lupsko, which is literally 5 minutes from the border with the Germans. And believe me, the Germans, even they may not love my ass. Christian Basler named his daughter Jamila. For Kramers. You know, and, they're looking at the Polish like, I'm just waiting for another bullshit coming out of those shit ass. You know, so, exactly. Of course, if the Germans pull a stunt like the Morgana Shisti, like yours, but there's no war with them at the moment. The only thing that I can see is Polexit. And because he named his daughter Jamila, we're going the romantisch, Lowlands Gabor thing. The poet. I'm trying not to be rude to Kindergarten Global, but they've heard this shit so many times in Rome. Oh, there Rome, there you went. London. Come on. They fucking know. Those other guys, Russia, Turk, Saudi, Egypt. Ma ragazzi è impazzito. Switzerland, the entire East Coast, the Morgangistas. That guys are fucking going nuts only for the Morgangistas. And you want to know what they're going to do in Fresno Cantatals. However, I said to them, listen, man, you did everything. You have the radioactivity. The entire Central Valley, yeah, it's a porqueria. Apart of being a criminal haven, it's a porqueria. Yeah, they dumped shit in there. Radioactivity, deep state. For the army to dump radioactivity takes shit nothing. Get rid of the criminals. Get rid of the assholes. Get rid of the coyos in Fresno Cantatals. And you have peace. Not that 70% of the population in Fresno that's below the poverty line has to do the local motherfucking rotations. Which made me go crazy for 20 years. What the fuck do you expect from a baby angels having a heart attack twice for the parents? And so that's just going around in Rome, in London, East Coast, a lot of times. So who are you bullshitting? If you haven't yet got Fresno Cantatals. With Havana, for instance. Havana is an example. Fast, rapido, doesn't kill, just give you a headache, like the fish, and goodbye. You can't give the Delft national ID to a baby. It's the height of asswipes. And now, this was only two-way schools at stupid time. So let's go. I mean, Marta Zvarta wasn't my cousin before this shit. So let's start seeing things for what they are, all right? Because with that amount of intel, I don't call it intel, whatever, on the laptops, on the streets, it's not that these guys were in some metro or some hidden place, some building. No, motherfucker! They're out there on the streets for months and months and months on end, for years. I ain't the first time I do the crawlies for the parents. Okay, I have to go into their buildings and just watch them as they pissed off about Fresno Cat's with the parents. That many times on my crawlies. So try and understand what's happening here. Okay, that the retirements of Fresno Cat's is wrong. It's dangerous. Because other than the confrontations, which I agree with, because we know everything about Fresno Cat's. Kids, cats, and dogs are starting to get sick of this shit, the zootropia around the planets, for me. When they say that I'm Doolittle. And when they say, I got a problem with the Disneyland baby from the East Coast, the West Coast, to Saffron, to London, to Rome, to Egypt, to Saudi, to Russia. I haven't been to Turkey, thanks God, because otherwise those guys would have just shot my ass down. Cowardly little shit, you should have bombed them yourself. You by yourself! On 92 and above. So, that's another characteristic. Can call it characteristics of people's. Of course, I don't like generalizing or clicheing, but but those peoples. Now the Eastern Blockers ain't that different either, in some aspects, depending on which. I wouldn't say which. What is Eastern Bloc? In fact, which, because I'm useless. Now look at Woolwich. Woolwich is speaking about Madame Tussauds. The mask, the wax museum. They've been talking about me as a wax museum for years. What that place said. What the fuck? They said Scotland man on fire for me. What's saying wrong? I say it's easy. It's only the bribery and opportunism. Yeah, not like Fresno, yeah? So we have it all. We have it all and beyond. Believe me, I feel like an empath. I'm not an empath. You know what it is? SpongeBob SquarePants, the baby. Man, with all the hernias. Man, and then you go there, you have Piłsudski on top of it. You want to be Che Guevara. Robert. I have nothing against this shit. But, stupidity has a limit. Then they send me this psycho button. Of course, they're going to bump me more. Trust me. Yeah, because I talked to the Stuttgart police and the Berlin police when I was there. In fact, I got quite cozy with them as a caregiver job. I wonder how. What am I, Marilyn Monroe? Hello. There we are. They thought that a baby is useless. Yeah, she is. In effect, she is. But hell almighty, I can make a lot of noise. And they didn't like that in Poland. They didn't like the noise in Poland. At all. Now, this house cost $30,000. No taxes. I already paid tax, but over 3 years afterwards. It's like $30 a year, and that's it. So, but anyway, I paid so much that it's probably for another 50 years. I already paid it off in full. So everything's paid. I can just get the fuck out of here, and that's it. I don't even have to pay any fines for this. It's 52 meters squared, and it's literally on the border with Germany. 5 minutes by car. As far away from what the fuck's happening in Poland with Ukraine and the Polacks and the demonstrations on the streets and the guys on the laptops, the international ones on 85, and now on the laptops. See, funnily enough, my job was on the coastlines. You see, this is it. They never understood heightened intel. They never understood the flyings. They never understood the coastlines and peace on 92 and above many times. And they were ready. And they didn't understand even 85 and above, deep in the heart of Congo High School. That is trying to tell me that in the pink school when I died. In other words, the Polish are full of shit. Got it, CIA? We're going to win the rule of law. Hands down on crawlies. And if they don't show her to me, they pay twice in Poland. Don't shed me down. Fucking Grabsky again, motherfucker. I got the Brits. I got, oh yeah, baby. Oh, Madame Tussauds. What about the Italians who fell with me? Nessa? Nessa? Hello? Oh, I'm dead. Sorry. No consequence to you, asshole. You see? They send out the little baby. They touch the baby. They never met the intel. So obviously they only see a little baby. You see a little baby, you don't know the original intel. That's the reaction you're going to get. You can have the BBC, you can have Channel 4, you can have a messenger at all when you're a child. You can have them banging on your door. Space! Science! Fuck Ango, it's only one project in St. George's. Oh, news on the news. Exactly. But if I'm going to say that, I can't have pretenses if I'm just an ass white piece of paper. Correct? And if they came up with the concept of the mongoloid bag with the crashers, I'm going to change that. I can't. And that's why there's a Scotland Man on Fire movie for me, set in a Roma per le pensioni between the intelligence, the Italians, the UN, the peoples of Rome, che si sono prodotti cazzo, Jimmy, the ones in London, by extension, the British, the East Coast. Morgana George would be very happy never to see me again. Just say. So you see this. Guys are from New York. They're from California. They're not from New England like me. So I keep repeating this. I'm keeping repeat. And I know that this is bad. It's even bad for the CIA. You can't go knocking at the CIA doors at headquarters or DC or Quint or the others and say, why are you defending the father? Why are you defending the mother? Right is left, left is right. Okay. Why? You can't. I'm dead. I never trusted anybody. I was stabbed by everybody. Everybody on the planet didn't give a shit for me and my intelligence. Nobody. Space! Science is on the news. But I am dead. With a piece of paper. And you saw it coming. So don't fucking give me this shit. In Italy, or in Woolwich, with Madame Tussauds, baby. Don't give me this shit about the Polish sitting there saying, we didn't fall down with you, so don't give me this shit about Basler, who worked for NASA and named his daughter Jamila. They're looking at the Polish like they're fucking retarded. This is all news on the news. Kindergarten Global. If they know, they know. If they don't, I'm not going to keep repeating it as an Indios. Sorry. I went to some freak schools in the UN. Those kids, at the age of 5, used to say to me, no, you're special, you should be here. Again, there is something in the Southern. Of course there is. It used to be there before. Same with the others. Same with Woolwich by extension. Same with the Italian intelligence that crashed with the UN ones. You can't, you know what, Virgil Kane. So, let's say it, okay? So these are the very basics that came out ages ago. I didn't even know that it was so famous. In a sense, I knew it was famous because it surrounded me in the world. It was like living in a surreal world. 70 countries and 30 states connected the dots. And it ain't surreal when you're hanging out with those guys in Intel in all those countries with the uniforms. So don't speak to me about surreal while I'm fighting my ass as a little fuck Indios through the walls with a piece of paper towel stamped on my head. The social security number. So that's already fucked up in itself. So ages ago. So that's what I learned in kindergarten. Global. That's what I learned in Am. That's what I learned in high school. That's what I learned in Woolwich, where the Intel is. It's not high school. So it's all news on the news. So they're just saying, please, finish with Fresno Cantadaldo's criminal. You want to get the cheerleaders? Go right ahead. Because for the CIA, for the headquarters, for the Morgana Schistis, for the Intel in the US, it hurts them, you see. That there's criminal activity all over the world, sure, in the US, of course. Some mere novelty. Having said that, it happened on US soil. There was so, well, you know, bad looking. And those people's been sending more than the cavalry or sticanas from everywhere, many times. So, you know, Delph is Delph. I may not be Delph, but I can at least say something because I have that piece of paper Delph. Got culo de Tony's, as Carlo Bordoni would say. And plus, I know that there's something in there. I know that through all those crashes in the world, there's still something there in those schools. Elementary, primary schools. So, that's all I'm saying. That's what's famous. I can't change it. I cannot change the fame in Rome, in London, in those countries, or in the US on the East Coast. It's just unchangeable. Understand? That part. When they say, stop playing Man of Fire, stay over for retirement, you're, yes, I will. No, the Barons. Anyway, we can still do it. Anyway, as for Fresno County et al.'s, that place has caused a lot of problem for the real CIA, for the real FBI, for the Barons. And I didn't even trust it because they were sending. They were sending from the Morganchistas, they were sending from Intel, they were sending from Woolwich by extension, remember? They were sending even from fucking Rome, motherfucker, I didn't even know. I knew that Rome was sending, I had no fucking idea how much. So this is all Intel, okay? So try and understand when people get pissed off at something like that. Now, for the Polish, if I had common sense, even just a tiny common sense, I'd back off from the baby. I'll say, excuse me, I know you went elsewhere. Okay, but lost is lost anyway. We didn't participate, so what do we have? Well, pretenses. You don't have pretenses, we won't have pretenses. But the Polish are the Polish. The best in the world. My ass! They are the best. They're racist too, to add boot to it. And not to mention the fucking fanatic Catholics. I'm not gonna go into this shit. I'm okay with you being Catholic. I'm okay with you being Pravoslavne. I'm okay with you being Jewish. I'm okay with you being Muslim. You start going into your fanatic shit, I'm leaving. Oh, fuck. And I was complaining about the US. I'm sorry. You know, I did complain about the US. I did complain about the ghost lines, and there was a payment for that. In fact, as I said, Peter Binev, the CIA generals, not Peskovsky, fucking mass media, Julieta mass media in Belgium. You know, Gabor the Lowlands, his best friend, Peter Binev, was on 13 Crescent Road on the first Masters. Professor Waveless. With Gabor. So, they're best friends. They defended me for a day and a night. So what we're saying is, why is it that the true CIA didn't do Havana with those assholes ages ago? That's what we're saying. Because, you see, they know I died and that there was an internal problem. That internal problem wasn't me. Deep in the heart of Congo High School had the senator's kids. Remember Jonathan too and the others, the pink high school, yeah? I went to high school for free between the ages of 13 and 15. In Ambre, they had moved me 3 years ahead. You know, that old school, the middle school, whatever. Not existent. Oh, bitches, I'm not even highly intelligent. I'm not saying there's something in there for sure. But what I'm saying is that once you lost the intel, you lost it forever and ever, at least from a positive point of view. It's not habitat creation A++, let's say for kids. It's habitat creation Earth for now. Okay? That's the basics. Fuck you, Poland. So, and now, as I said, I'm 5 minutes from the border with Germany. And now we know why. Now, they made mistakes. Because if the Polish didn't fall in Italy, you see, Italian intel. I was born in Italy. Okay? But I'm not, like, my blood. I have an Italian passport at birth, obviously, because I was born in Italy with all those other passports and the UNID. In stupid times for 2 high schools. Yes? In Rome. These, everyone knows everything. It just became famous, that piece of paper. You have to understand that. Probably because it doesn't exist. Oh, it exists somehow. Format. I don't like the word format. Okay, we get it. Guess what's happening now? So these are things that we knew when I was 5 years old. In those 70 countries and 30 states, connecting the dots. So, for me. So what we're saying in a polite manner is, you know, when they say two pterodactyls at Frankenstein cats, they mean it. Not in a stupid way. They're saying it. Official. 92, 92 and above, 92, 85, 85, and they're not even accepting 85, 85 and above. And now on the scrollies. I mean, you know, so obviously what they're saying is, if you see the Turks, the Russians, the Eastern blockers, in any case, the Caucasian, okay? You can say Egypt too, because the families. And the Italians, because I was born in Italy for 2 high schools of stupid times, in the UN system, okay? Now you're starting to see this. You're seeing it now. The fact that they didn't show the mother and that we won the rule of law made it worse, because she didn't need the rule of law. Because we already had unheard of Bigfoot DOJ against Fresno County Dallas. So now you start seeing how much effort was put against Fresno County Dallas for both parents, and why those intelligence agencies and within the U.S. who are defending the family unheard of Bigfoot DOJs are starting to freak the shit out. Because if you have that many confrontations in D.C., and it's correct, 92 and above, many times was accepted. No one said a word. I even did the shit on the coastlines and elsewhere. Nobody said a word. On 85 and above, you could already see it. You could already see me dying in Rome. And that's strange in itself. That should put me, now you can have the football team, the basketball team. You could have all the guys writing love letters to you, and you're going to be like a baby like, I don't believe your shit. You're as paranoid as it gets for health, let alone for the parents. It's simple. There's no psychology to it. Simon Diorda broke his hips in the first year, 2017, when I was out of Fresno County on the laptops in St. Anne's in San Francisco. Why? He is the psychiatrist for the Phoenix in Rome, on the 5th floor. And he's a bodybuilder. So those guys, I said to them, don't play the psycho game. Don't play the I'm going to shut you in and kill you game in Fresno County that one way or another. Or anywhere else. Because I'm a baby. I'm see-through. So when they say the familiar face or the Miss Magoo connecting the dots around the worlds, or the reason they're showing it is because they knew what that intel did before it became Miss Megumi with that ass white piece of paper. And that is why they're upset. And they're like, ugh. Okay, that's it. That's the basics around the world. Yeah, the Madame Tussauds, the masks, stare over a diamond. So obviously, you see, they say it's easier. Let's do it. Fresno County Dallas is just a bunch of criminals. Blackwater over there, they call them puppy dicks. Why? Because they're puppy dicks, but they said everything. They're not stupid. Look at Tom and Jerry Dallas. Look at the police. Look at the nursing homes, the hospital, the shootouts. Again, Cowboy Western in Ambridge. Look at Triad, the Khmong, who became my boyfriend. Half year. Became 6 years with the Triad. He don't even have a high school. But I can tell you one thing. He's the best fuck shooter in the West. The Khmong. He has twins. We know that. He is not a bad guy. But just for the baby to be safe in Fresno County, she needed a professional sniper, a professional killer to be her boyfriend. Now, on the 5th floor in Rome, there's a Vietnamese girl, Prahashamsa, Nepalese, I don't know. Speaking of, was it something like, what's his name? Anyway, Robin Williams. I didn't like watching that. So, try and understand. They've seen the development of this baby throughout the world without the teeth. It's not that they hate me. No, because they know what happened. They like the parents a lot more than I thought. I know they like them, they respect them, they like them. Like, So we have to start thinking, okay? The Polish can have their own fucked up country, nobody cares. For 2 high schools, I was born in Italy and not in Poland or anywhere else. In Rome. So I'm not going to come back from Crawley's to Poland and find out, we want the rule of law, where's the man? And a psychopath, Grabsky rolling around, I'm better than you, well, I got some fucking bombs. Habitat Creation F, Julieta Novoa, Old News in Kindergarten, that I never spoke about. I saw them. I saw the brothers. I saw the brothers in Ubermensch buildings. In South Korea in 2009, in front of those consulates. I saw them in Rome. I saw them in Woolwich, in King's Campus. I saw them in other countries. I saw them in the U.S. Genentechs. And I'm not going to be sitting there and deciphering on the perfect batches. or lookalikes of professors. Eleanor Thompson, I keep telling you, Eleanor Thompson, who is the geneticist in Woolwich, has the same face like me. We're almost fucking identical. And she's a lover of Colin Hills. I was that girl who... So by extension, they're helping the Barons. What is so difficult to get jealous of an India's child and Poland? That's what's famous about Poland. And Europe, with Basler, with the Londoners, with the Brits, with the Woolwichers, with Rome, with the Italian intelligence that crashed with me, La Sapienza and more, and St. George's. For me alone? And the coastline work and the Pacific work that I used to do, that I'm going back to? That they want to help the parents. They have to. Peter Beenath, the CIA generals, and Gabor are making them pay on the ghost lines for one day and one night with me being dead. And the back for DOJs with all those confrontations that many times. On 92 and above was accepted. That many flies. Not even 85 and above was accepted. What are you, retarded? We got Kindergarten Global rolling on this shit, cats and dogs, around the world. East Coast, West Coast, San Fran, London, Rome, the whole fuck shit. Fuck, I find out even Southeast Asia knows this shit about me and the Barons. Who is Fresno County Itals? We know. Should have done Havana ages ago. They did everything else. They did holes in their heads. They did the foreign bodies. That's not how you do it. That's not how Intel does it. What the fuck? You're causing problems to the CIA and the FBI. And they say you even caused problems with them with my death because of Deepa in the heart of Congo. High school pink. Showing that. And the loss of the intel with the empty buildings worldwide. But we could see it in Hokusat. I did something. And I'm pleading the fifth. They better watch out on President does. Because we're coming back. You're on a roller. I just need this pension fund. Singing a long time. I'll wait a couple of weeks. Take some antibiotics because I have some scars from the ears. But they removed. Which they shouldn't have. They should have just given me the antibiotics. And I'm coming back. And I tell you one thing. The hate that they have for the Americans is tremendous. They hate you. They hate the CIA headquarters and the European Union. They hate. They hate. They dream of coming to America. No, they don't. There are those who've been in the CIA like me ages ago. That's why, my dear. I got the William Burns Federal piece of paper doll itself. ID dead. No European is getting that. And stupid times only. Remember that.